Hello, everyone. This is Jay Wicker with Small Business StandUp. And as you guys can see, my guys left me out hanging out to dry again this week. So hopefully they come in. And I hope they'll see this part too. Y'all doing me wrong, man. But it's all good. We still get some good information. It's gonna be dismissed today as well. So how you guys doing today?
Good.
All
Good.
right.
Excellent. You guys been attacking the week so far?
Little
Yes,
by
it
little.
already feels like Thursday.
Okay. Well, everybody, please like, share, and subscribe. If you don't mind, let's see if we can get these numbers up on everything and get these good questions out and all that stuff. So now, listen, we're gonna have a couple people doing some do some presenting. So you guys get ready. I might call on you anytime. You know how I rock. So so all right. So let's get started here. Well, first of all, how are you guys doing? Let's we always talk about business, right? Started off. So how are you doing personally? That's important.
Good.
Good.
Okay. You guys not run yourself into ground.
We had this conversation earlier. I was so grateful to do the podcast again. Um, I know I'm a creator and being in a creative space, and you guys let me know if you agree with this, and audience too. When I'm in this creative space, it gives me energy, right? It actually gives me motivation. It actually, you know, inspires me to do the things that I otherwise wouldn't have the energy to do. Right. And so a lot of my tasks, a lot of my projects were like at the tail end. And I'm like, oh, I need to finish this. I need to finish this where I'm going to garnish the energy. And when we started the podcast, it's like, oh, I'm creating again. And now I have the momentum and the energy to kind of spill over into those areas. So effective and efficient because I'm in this creative space.
No, I think that's big, and a lot of people, and that looks different for everybody. Because some people get energized by execution. Everybody gets energized by something different. For me, it's when I'm having problems. Like if somebody has a problem and they come to me, what gives me. I wake up and it's like, all right, let's go, let's do this, and this. So I can definitely agree with you on that one about you got to find the thing that gives you the energy. Obviously, Jay trying to be the next big network. I know that gives him energy.
Right.
Absolutely. You just gotta have fun, man. You gotta have fun doing what you do, right? It brings you life, man. Working your purpose. So again, we appreciate you guys coming on. So let's listen. Let's jump right into this thing here. So the first question, we're gonna go right into this thing. How much does it cost to bring one client in your business? Why is it important to know that?
So I
You
think
gotta
for the first part of the question of how much does it cost to bring a client in, that's going to vary depending on the business, depending on what your forms of marketing are. You may be a person who does very well with word of mouth marketing. That doesn't cost you too much of anything. But if you take your word of mouth marketing to the next level and you start actively asking for referrals, well, then you can start to spend a little bit of money. But it's important for you to know that information so that you're able to figure out how you can best scale, for you to know what's working for you, what avenues are working for you, and then maybe what avenues are not. Like I said, for example, if you were using word of mouth marketing and then you decided to go and get into social media marketing and maybe you're running ads on Facebook, but then your cost per click may go up to, you know, 10, 20, $100, that's going to let you know if that's a marketing vehicle that makes sense for you, or should you be somewhere else. So it's important to know what your average acquisition cost is so that you have a really good idea of what something should cost you, so that you can say, yes, this is beneficial, or no, that's beneficial. But you would also want to know what your average cost or your average profit that you're going to get from any particular client, I would say as well, because you may think that, okay, this avenue, it's not really beneficial because it costs too much to get a client. But if that client is $20,000, well, that may be, kind of worth it. So I think those two numbers go hand in hand.
Anybody else to add to that?
I agree with
Like,
that
Yeah.
100%. And I think that a lot of times,
and
oh,
no, go for it, Sheila.
I was just saying, I think a lot of times we can look at people who say like they, made 6K, I mean, 100K or 200K, but you're not looking at how much it costs them to bring in that amount of money. And they're giving you a raw number, but they really didn't make a profit because it probably cost them, that much to even retain that much. So, um, I agree 100% with that, knowing
Yeah.
how much it would cost.
Yeah.
And and then when they're looking at how much it costs to bring in to bring in someone, you also have to look at training, you know, you have to look at, are you going to be able to retain, the client, the employee, customer service. It just depends on your business. So you still have to look at how much it costs, bottom line, um, retention, and as Lachey and Sheila said, as far as the avenues that you went down, as far as your marketing and how you went about, are you doing Facebook ads? Are you doing radio ads? Are you doing television ads? All of that adds up. And then once you get the person or the client or the employee, you got to look at, your training. Is the training 2 weeks training? Is it 30-day training? Is it 1 week training? All of that costs, the materials costs, you know, then you have your labor, so when a person says, they made X amount of money, did they deduct that?
Yeah.
Because it goes right to your bottom line.
And I
Yeah.
think off of what everyone is saying too, a key point is that you have to make sure you're tracking this stuff too.
Yes,
That's key,
yes.
even before for you to know any of this stuff, you have to be tracking. So I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs forget to do, to
Right.
create a system for how they're going to track your leads. A lot of people don't even know where their leads are. So how are you going to calculate what your average cost is if you have no idea where your leads are even coming from? So I think tracking is really important, and making sure that you have a full tracking system for every expense with your business. So, like Tamika was saying, what training are you participating in? What subscriptions are you participating in order for you to maintain and manage your business? So I think tracking is really important too, kind of on the same topic, and something that goes hand in hand with it.
Yeah.
And how much are you willing to pay? I know me and Danielle just met, what was that, Saturday? And
Yep.
we went through the customer's journey, right? So when we do this, then we want them to do this, and then we want them to go here, and then we want them to go there. And
Mhm.
really going on that customer's journey will let you know, like, okay, so I may pay, right, my marketing dollar here, but I have all these spots where we're going to kind of get this back and retain them. So I'm gonna retain them this program, and then they're gonna ascend to this program, and then they're gonna ascend to this program, right? So an ascension process to keep that customer in there. So you may pay a lot more in the beginning, but you have them on a journey where they're with you now, and so you're not paying over and over that amount for that customer, that particular customer.
Yeah.
To piggyback off Mercedes' point, I think another thing is how much time and effort are you putting into the client? Because if you're killing yourself just to get one, or
Right.
depending on the business, you driving around, or it's a lot of time and hours and calls, but nobody's, signing up and things of that nature. It goes back to that metric point, and I think time is another metric that you have to factor in there. If you're wasting a lot of time and you're not getting the people, you probably need to reevaluate that as well, because you could be spending that time either doing something more efficient, productive, and effective, rather than, yeah, just begging people.
Danielle, I love that you brought that up, because my mom's favorite quote is, all money isn't good money. She loves to tell me that. And that is so true because I've had clients that are paying me thousands, but they take up so much of my time that I
Yeah.
can barely bring on a second, let alone a third or a fourth. And they limit my ability to scale. Where you can have someone who charges a fraction of that, but it allows you to scale. So I think also quality of the clients that you're getting
Yes.
when it comes to, and quality again, not just on basic terms of how much are they paying, because that's not everything, like we've said, but just overall when you've outlined your customer journey, as Sheila has said, and then like Danielle, you've looked at how much time is this person taking from me, and are they a good fit for my program, my products, or my services. Those are all things that you have to consider as well when you're thinking about the cost of working with the client, because I've definitely been in that position where they were paying great, but the way my calendar is set up and the amount of time that they would just, they can
And the
almost suck the life
energy.
out of you
Yes.
and business. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider.
All right. Yeah, that's really important, man. You can have the greatest idea in the world, right? You can have the most amazing work ethic, whatever it is. If you don't kind of know what it takes to get somebody in the door, you could be spinning your wheel. It's important to know that. It's so much stuff that you can continue to buy every day, but if you got none going back out, well, coming in or whatever the case, if everything's going out, you're in trouble. You're definitely in trouble. What's up? What's up, Mr. Jones? What's up, Johnny Leverage? How you guys doing?
What's going on, Jay?
I'm doing great, man.
How's,
Glad to see you guys.
how's everybody doing today?
Good, good, good.
Doing great. Great.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you,
You guys
sir.
have a thought on this one?
I would say probably back to the basics, having a business plan. That's the reason why everybody tells you before you start anybody that's successful, they say have a business plan. Because at that point in time, you at least know at some point what you may have, what you don't have, and it's made to be tweaked along the way. So having that plan initially and then revisiting it, and it depends on, like you guys say, the business of someone in their business model. Um, some people may need to revisit it every month. Some people may need to revisit it every 6 months, depending on, whether you're B2B, B2C. So, and I saw somebody put a comment up about data, and I think that I'm always touching on tech and the possibilities that we need. Yeah, big data and entrepreneurship. Yeah, just having that type of these tools, software as a service, even software that you can buy. I'm old school. I like to actually own the software. Uh, but having the different tools in place, and there's no excuse to not have it because you can go on your app store, Apple or Android, you can go find these resources and you can track this information. You can keep your business plan in a digital format. You can set alarms and times to go back and review these things. So, yeah, but I'm definitely agree with everything that's been said so far.
Dope, dope.
So I have a question for everyone on the panel about business plans, because that is something that comes up a lot. And I would like to know just everyone's opinion on, do you feel first that it's necessary now that everything is digital and everything's so fast and people start up businesses left and right? And then two, is it that if you do have a business plan, is a one-page business plan sufficient, or do we need to still have like 10, 15, 20-page business plans? And what do you all think? That's definitely something that I've been asked.
It depends. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just jump in, but just
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
kind of just piggyback what I was already off momentum wise. It depends, but I definitely think that everyone should. If you're gonna go have an idea that you are gonna have that's gonna bring you money, you definitely need to write it down. I had a coach that always said, uh, poor planning leads to piss poor performance, and that's just it's the truth. So I think anyone who wants to accomplish something in life, you need to write it down. Whether it's a business, whether it's losing weight, whether it's gaining weight, whether it's getting a new car. Write your goal down, and depending on the intricacy of it, right? Because if I'm just, I got a lemonade stand, and I could do a one page, business plan. But if I'm thinking, yeah, I want this beverage to be in every grocery store in the Northwest of the United States and then move, yeah, you're going to need about 15 to 20 pages because you're going to be giving this to investors, um, so many different people that are going to be a part of that plan. So I think it just depends on the complexity of the business. But yeah, you do need a business plan, regardless of who you are.
I would agree
I
with
love the way you worded
I,
that. That's
I
perfect.
think
Because
that
I always hate when people try to push the idea that you need a long business plan for every business, and I don't necessarily
No.
agree with that. I agree with you that you do need to outline what your general business structure was, and you need to have an idea of where you're trying to go. Yes, but the concept, because there are people who sell that as a service and they charge people a lot of money and tell them that this is what you need, but that's not really true. And meanwhile, they've spent so much time on the business plan, but the marketing section of it is so limited. And that's what's going to determine where you're getting those sales from. So
Yeah.
I definitely don't think that you should spend more time talking about the business plan aspect of it, although you do need it, and zero to no time on the marketing aspect of it, especially if you're not trying to go and get financing, because marketing is something that everybody's business needs.
Yeah. And I think
Most
to
definitely.
piggyback off what Johnny said, to your point, yeah, it could be a one page. Like you can start with one page, and as you grow, like he said, you go back and revisit it. But that first page needs to evaluate: is this worth my time? Because that should be the quick business plan. Okay, I want to do this. It's going to take this much effort. When do I get my return? How do I get my return? That's a one pager. And yes, there's a lot of people that charge a lot of money, and I don't agree with that per se. But writing it down, that's the seeds of manifestation. So write it down, get it out, and share it with somebody to make sure it's not just you. Make sure you captured everything, because that's the big part. Is somebody doing it on their own. Yeah, you can Google a bunch of things and get a bunch of ideas, but it's always good to bounce the ideas off of another business-minded person, because they may provide input that you were not thinking of. Like you said, a marketing channel that you weren't thinking of, or an income stream that you weren't thinking of. So I think definitely share once you get the business plan, but definitely start with something, even if it's handwritten notes.
I think that I look at business plans a little bit more in a I think that they ask questions. Now, if it's needed to do the work that you do, no, because that's the work that you do and that's your gift. But I do feel like there's a place for the business plan. So I agree with Johnny and Danielle in the sense that it actually helps you to walk through a process. Like you said, marketing. Oh, I'm stuck on this. This is where I'm going to probably need some help at because I don't know how I'm going to market this. So maybe that's where I need to go hire me a marketer or budgeting. Okay, what should I be charging? How does this? That's probably where I need to go and now hire Danielle to help me facilitate this part, And I really do feel like as an entrepreneur in the beginning, we are so focused on the thing that we do. And we know that we can work in our business, but working on our business is really what the business plan allows you to do because it helps you to capture like this overall umbrella of what is this business doing and what does it need structurally to make it happen. And I feel like that just makes the individual way more competent and confident that all of the I's are dotted or T's are crossed, or what do I need to do next on the journey? Because it's like, okay, how many people are you going to employ? It's just some very tough, difficult questions that I feel like you're not always thinking about when you want to sell product A or do this B thing, right? And that business plan is just a good way to get you kind of thinking in that way.
And also to add, I agree with everyone thus far. And to add to it, the business plan, if this is really what you want to do, it's going to hold you accountable.
Accountable. Yes.
Okay. It's going to make you put, you're putting your skin in the game. It's going to make you it's going to hold you accountable. And you need that strategic plan of, what you're going to do. Like Sheila said, how you're going to do it, who you're going to hire. And it'll show you the areas that you truly may be weak in, because if this is your talent and this is your gift, you got that part, but
Mm-hmm.
you may not have the budgeting part. You may not have the marketing part. You may not have the the hiring aspect. You may not know the questions to ask, what to look for, as you want
Amen.
to hire the person. So all of that goes into your business, because if you've never hired anyone before, that person you can hire, that person can fool you in that interview and go in there, and your business can go from sugar to what in one day, because they done robbed you blind, because you're so excited you just opened
Yes.
your new business.
Mhm.
You're just gleaming with joy, and they know that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And now your employee just ran off
That
with
was
your new business, basically.
that was a
So
great tidbit, and knowing how to fire that employee.
there, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So I do
Yes.
think it's a great question because I think as new entrepreneurs, novice entrepreneurs, and even some entrepreneurs who started successful businesses never had a business plan. When they come back around the corner, it's like, but did you think of this? No, because you didn't go through the business plan, right? And really have an idea of structurally what am I going to need. So structurally, I feel like those questions in a business plan, every business in some way, shape, or form will have to face that if they feel like they're going to be successful. And I feel like that's what makes it important. Now, when you complete it, that's on you, you know.
Joe, you got a
And
question?
that point is exactly why I asked the
No,
question,
no.
because I've had a lot of successful businesses too that have made millions and they've never had a business plan. And then I go in there to help them with development and they don't have this, they've never even thought of that. And it's crazy. And they give a little bit of pushback when you're like, okay, I think we need to kind of start at the
Take a step
basics
back. Yeah.
and let's get this business plan and let's actually outline these things, because no one knows who's on first, what's on third. They I
Yeah.
mean, yes, you've made money, which a lot of people would consider that success, but now you've reached that plateau and you're not able to scale and grow and go to the next level
Yes.
because
Mhm.
now all your flaws are being,
Exposed.
having a light shown on them.
Yeah.
And
Because they
that's what
will be
made me ask
tested.
that question, because I get a
Yeah.
lot of pushback, like a
Yeah.
lot of pushback when it comes to that point.
Yeah.
Joe, you got a question?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. First of all, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Glad
Most
to
of
see
all,
you.
so I appreciate you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think the original question you asked was, do you need a smaller big one? Right? And I think that answer is based on the business, and it also based on the goals that individual has for the business and what you're trying to accomplish. I have a statement that I tell my kids, and I live by this: is whenever I speak, what is the end result I'm looking to accomplish with that? Well, same
That's
thing
strong.
with your business. What is the end result you're looking to accomplish? And I think what a business plan allows you to do is to come up with that end result. So I think everybody, to everyone's point, should have some form of a business plan, whether it's writing out your why, whether it's a strategic business plan, whether it's a 1 page or a 10 page. Also, depending on what you're trying to accomplish long term, with business funding, depending on where you're trying to get those funds from, you can't even come to the table without a business plan. So if you don't have one, again, this is what are you trying to accomplish long term? If you're trying to get venture capital, you're trying to get some kind of a loan, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, mandatory. You have to have a business plan. So I think it always comes down to what you're trying to accomplish. Is it a requirement? I don't think it's a requirement. This is why you just told me that there's people who have made millions. I know people who have made tens of millions, right? No business plan. They look at you like, this is not 1960. Leave me alone. I'm not saying that that's right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't believe in absolutes when it comes. My only absolute is my faith in God. So I think there's always there's always going to be different situations where people are going to look at you and say no. So do I think it's a requirement? No, I don't think it's a requirement. I think that it's a smart business choice. You know what I'm saying? Just like having extra credit isn't a requirement, but it makes really good sense. You know what I'm saying? You need to, if
I
you're trying to get, you're trying to go, you
yeah.
don't want to have that. You know what I'm saying? So I
I
think
think the
that
requirement, I was going to just say this on that requirement word. I think just the requirement is having it written down so you
right.
Somewhere.
and your associates can all look at it's like a price tag, right? Somebody can argue with you about the price of your service or whatever until it's written down, because you can't go argue with McDonald's about the price of a double cheeseburger.
Right.
So
Right. I think
Non-negotiable.
it also depends on the type of business structure. I have a very, my business structure is very different from I think most of you. I'm in network marketing, and I also offer, provide business funding. So, you know, 85, 90% of my businesses are based on a network marketing model or affiliate marketing model. So my business plan is more so based on scaling up the business. And then, when I get to a certain level, I might hire VAs or I might hire, different outsourcing. And I have to have a plan for that. But most of it is built on networks and other networks. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different type of build. Even when I was in real estate and I was doing real estate investing, I was, I'm hard-headed, by the way. I mean, I need to hit my head about 10 times before I realized, oh, maybe I should have had a business. You know what I'm saying? When I was building my business, my real business, because there were so many areas I missed out on. And the reason why in 2010, 2012, I lost so many of my properties because I didn't plan it out. Right? I didn't have a structure on what was going to happen when people didn't pay rent. I didn't have a structure put in place, as a contingency plan as far as when things break. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have one. I was just buying properties, locking them on, and also I got rent, not having a plan of action. So I think that your business, depending on what type of business you have, everyone, like you said, Johnny, everyone should have one. The complexity of it will be based on the business and the end game you're trying to accomplish.
So to all the people that's out there now, man, that's looking at this and who's going to see this in the future, it's important to have one. It's definitely important to have one. Once you get that, of course, you want to look at what it takes. How much money it takes to bring somebody into the facility, right? To get some of your services or whatever, whether it's a website or whatever. So the next question is this then, right? What are the conversion ratios, though, right? You get all those people. Say one more time.
I'm gonna jump on that one quickly. Well, go ahead.
Okay. So all these people, you get these people coming. So what that look like, right? What are the conversion ratios, right? You need to know that, or do we need to know that?
Yeah. So I wrote a book called "How to Create a Six-Figure Business from Home: 10 Steps to Overcoming Your Self-Defeating Habits." And one of those chapters talks about know your numbers. Every business, there's numbers. And if you get down to the basics, the numbers outweigh talent. The numbers outweigh tenacity. You can be really bad and go through the numbers properly, and you'll still have success.
Absolutely.
The challenge is that most people are afraid to go through the numbers, right? And so I tell people all the time, whatever industry you're in, learn the numbers in that industry. Find out who has the most success in that industry. Figure out a way to learn those numbers, whether it be talking to them directly, or maybe you have to do a little research. Maybe you got to watch a few YouTube videos. Maybe you got to buy some books. Whatever you got to do, identify those numbers. And if you focus on those numbers consistently, the other stuff you'll learn, right? Of course, I'm not taking away from all of the important tenets of building a business, mindset, and obviously I have a chapter called Going Pro, and that means really learning your industry and becoming a professional in your industry. But if you learn the numbers game, the reason why I was to be successful in everything I've ever done is not because I'm really good, because I identify the numbers and I go through the numbers.
Yeah, man.
As far as the conversion rate, for me, I'm here. I'm not paying for I don't pay for leads. That's just my thing. I'm just old school with that. I paid for leads before, and I feel like that's a business in itself. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not. And I have this thing called "You ain't finna spin me." That's my motto. You ain't finna spin me, man. I don't like buying leads. So even with Facebook leads, I've done that and I've had some success with it. But I don't speak on it, not because it doesn't work, but I haven't had as much success as maybe you guys have had. And so I don't like losing money. So what I leverage free avenues, right? I try to master, TikTok and master IG and Reels. And I teach that to my team as well, because this is free value that we're able to have. Right now we're on Facebook, right? Somebody's going to see this and somehow this is going to reach somebody. And so I feel like in 2022, if you're not really learning Reels, if you're not really learning TikTok, there's a fear factor there, because you can generate so many. My TikTok just got shut down. I'm really upset about that. I'm gonna hit 30,000 followers. I had a video that was trending, about 55,000 views. I had about 300 comments on. These are all these comments are leads, right? And it was actually for my business funding business. And so my conversion rate for that, if I get 10 leads in my conversion rate with TikTok, I'm going to close at least 3 of those leads on a business funding deal. That those deals could go from anywhere between a profit of $500 up to $10,000 or more, depending on the business, right? So for me, it's a real simple math. I'm going through, and I personally, I'm still old school. I do go through my leads too. I don't trust nobody to close people better than me. You know what I'm saying? Not yet, at least.
No.
Maybe when I hit to multiple six figures or seven figures, maybe I'll do that. Like Shay, she said she talks to seven. When I get to that level, I'll probably start doing that. But until then, I need to convert these. So I think it just depends on the business. But for me, it's about 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10 is my conversion rate.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. What do you guys think?
Well, I know that it was very new to me, coming from therapy and being very much referral based. And, so you're waiting for people to actually take you on their caseload, and switching over to online. It was like, okay, what do I need to do? Like similar to what he said. So I post a post and I get all these people to comment, and I go in there and then I ask this. And at first I was so resistant to that. Like, no, that's not what I'm used to. But knowing the numbers and saying, okay, Sheila, if you want, to bring 20 people into this program or 10 people into this program, then you're going to have to talk to 50 people or whatever, to do that. And then, oh, okay, so I can talk to 5 people a day, or, to now I can break these numbers down to say how many people am I actually talking to? And then what is that? And now I know that I'm meeting, even though I'm getting no's, I know that I'm not really getting 50 people that's saying yes, right? My goal is to actually just get 10. So I don't see the other 40 no's as no's, right? Like, it's like you really are just a part of the process. But for me, it was a big transition because I came from a very referral based, process where it was just everybody need therapy. I think therapy is like 200 clients to every one individual, And so it's just like, oh, and over in this world of coaching and consulting, it's just it's not there, not yet. Let me say that. So yeah.
But Sheila, what you're doing is you're planting the seeds, though. So
Mm-hmm.
even if they don't at this time reach out or reply or whatever, when they need it,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be the first person that pops into their head. And then they're going to search for you. Oh my God, what was her name? I remember what she looked like. They'll
Mm-hmm.
Google or whatever until they see your picture or your name or something. But you're planting the seeds. It's going to come to fruition, but you're planting your seeds.
And you're right
And
about
that's the
that
whole
because
purpose of content marketing is that exactly what you just said. It's a seed planting process. It's not a get rich quick scheme at all. It's
no.
a process and it does take some time.
And you're so right about that because when I go to my Google Analytics, I think my views for like my building has shot up from like
Mhm.
100 to like 1100 like in 1 month. But that's when we had kind of started the launching and the communication. I'm like, okay, I guess they are doing what she said. Who is this? Like, I seen
Mhm.
this, let me kind of check up on it. So it's a process, and I'm sharing that story because sophisticatedly this stuff works, but it is sometimes a mindset shift, right? Especially coming from industries where you may be referral based. I was also a hairdresser, right? So that's also word of mouth, and there is no structure. Talking to like what Lachey said, a business plan for a hairdresser, like I'm opening up a shop and I'm bringing 5 other people in. I don't need a business plan for that. But it's like if you want to scale that, well, how are you marketing? Now you got products that you don't just want to sell to the clients inside the shop. You want to put these products in everybody's hand. You need a plan for that, right? So you can make a lot of good money and not have that business plan, but you are going to hit some type of roadblock where you have to come and ask these questions. But industry wise, as far as referrals, that's really going to determine, when you make the transition into your own business, you know, how to understand this, what Mr. Jones is talking about and what Lachey is talking about. Like, hey, you got to know these numbers because it ain't always as fluid in every industry where
And
you
I
just
think
get referrals like
that
that.
that's a perfect segue into what his original question was about knowing your conversion ratio. And you mentioned earlier, Sheila, the exact thing you need for that, your buyer's journey. Most people have never even considered their buyer's journey. If you've never thought about that, how are you going to know what a conversion is? what numbers to even start calculating. You have to think about when people are just getting interested in your business, and then when they're going into the position where they're making a decision on your business, and then when they go into the position of purchasing on your, you have to know, and you have to mentally go through that full process of your buyer's journey to know what areas can you improve, do you need to work with, do you need to consider something else, maybe revamp something. So I think, as you mentioned earlier, the buyer's journey is really important and extremely helpful for a person to go through that, and it is something that's specific to every business. One thing that I did was actually go on to Google Diagrams and just literally outline every aspect of my business. Okay, what are the different ways that a person can find me? Can they find me on Facebook, Instagram? Am I going to networking events? Everything that kind of puts people into my funnel. And once they enter into my funnel, what's their next stage? What's the next ask? Where's the next place that I want to put them? And just going through that process was so transformative for me for my business, because like you, I was used to word of mouth referrals because I come from the real estate world. And here in Texas, I don't know where everyone is from, but in Texas, we operate on networking events. So it's just like, and I work for a very large real estate investment educational company. So I'm used to being on stage with hundreds of people in the audience. And when you're on stage, people are meeting you after that. So there is no stop, wait a minute, let me calculate, how many people were here versus how. You don't think about that stuff. So actually outlining for your business, where's all the business coming from, where's it going, it was something totally different that I had to do when I was going from working a 9 to 5 to working full-time for myself. Because again, when you work that 9 to 5 or you work for someone else's, because a lot of people do that. Like, for example, you said a beauty salon owner, you may have worked in someone else's shop and felt like you could do it better, so you branch off on your own. It's easy to see how, oh yeah, I can do this, but at no point in time did you actually take a second and think, okay, so where are these people going to come from? And when they come in here, how do I keep them? How do I convince them to go from a style to a continuous repeat customer? People don't outline that. So I think buyer's journey is extremely important. And it's something that most people don't talk about. That we talk about business plans, and it's important because it is important, as we've all outlined. We talk about social media marketing, which is important, but those are pieces of what a buyer's journey is. There's more to that. And the thing that I found that gives the most insight on what you need to be doing is outlining your buyer's journey. And there are very few, even for entrepreneurs that I know who have business plans, very few of them have that buyer's journey outlined in that business plan.
Yeah. And I
No,
think that's the big part that you touched on, just having a business plan. And I mean, just having a plan in general. When you wake up on your Saturday morning, right, you don't just waste it. You're thinking, all right, I got to go to the grocery store. I got to get gas. I got to do this. And you're thinking about the numbers along with it. So that way you can, all right, well, let me check my account. Cool. You know what? This bill didn't come out yet. This on auto pay. So I think Lachey, you just broke down the perfect reason why somebody does need a business plan, just on that why situation. Because I can wake up and say I'm gonna do something, but even if I, like with Jones, Mr. Jones, what he was saying, I think in a lot of like network marketing spaces, you don't have to worry about it because the business plan was already made technically for you. But at some point in time, there was still a business plan that explains what you're going to do to make money, how your clients are going to have to pay, like you were saying, Lisa, what that journey looks like, and just really connecting the dots. Because in my business, it's extremely consultative. I'm a financial strategist, so I'm spending a majority of my time educating my clients, having aha moments, and really trying to get them to believe, because we save people 50 to 90% on their tax bill. We eliminate capital gains tax. So when I'm explaining and giving this information, I had to have a talk with myself and understand, all right, you're really planting seeds. Ms. Tamika, you said that part, you're planting seeds, because I can't expect somebody to make a decision, especially if the nature of my business specifically is talking to someone that may have a $600,000 tax bill, and you're like, what? You can lower this 50 to however much, you can do that. So you're gonna need to plant the seed, give supporting information. It's almost like whenever Rihanna or Beyonce or whoever it is comes out with a new album. Traditionally, before they just started dropping albums out of nowhere like they were Sade, they had billboards, you had, appearances on the radio, back on 106 in Park, Yo MTV, whatever the case. They did all of these correlating events that were planting seeds for somebody to come back. And I think, like, depending on your business, that's what really needs to, be focused on for the conversion ratio. How are your clients going to come to you, and then what obstacles lie in that journey? What hurdles do you need them to overcome before they're ready? Versus if I'm, selling water, I don't need to, there aren't any hurdles. It's like you said, everybody needs water. So I don't, have any issue with that, with as far as having these things in place, right? Your business plan. I think that's something that we obviously need to have as business owners and entrepreneurs. So that way we can get the analytics or the data and revisit, right? So that way we can either figure out what our conversion ratio is, or optimize it, or, just figure out how we can make our overall operations more efficient.
And I want to add to that conversion rate. Just can I just say this, because I think in business, I remember somebody saying they had like an 8% conversion rate, and I was like, oh, that's so low, right? Like, so low. But it really does depend on your industry, because like he said, I can get 3 people out of 10 and make between $5,000 and $10,000, right? When we're talking about conversion rates, and somebody is saying I have a 20% conversion rate or a 10% conversion rate or whatever, those numbers, depending on the industry, are really great numbers. And I also didn't know that, because I was like, wait, that's like a really low number, like 10%. Like, no, Sheila, that's good. Like, you got 10 out of 100 people. Like, do you know that? Like, you're doing good. And what you're going to make for this 10 is going to benefit you back to your numbers of how much you paid for these 10 people. And I think it's just a whole understanding of what is conversion rate, what's a good conversion rate for your industry, right? And
Yeah.
for somebody else's industry. And then also just the mindset, moving from the employee, like Lachey said, you was doing here, to the employer. Now you're the owner of that business. And that's a whole different mindset that you're taking on, and being responsible and steward over that business. You must take that shift in your mind, right?
And
Okay.
but to
We go.
piggyback, uh,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. To me.
to piggyback off what Sheila just said, sometimes, and that's the whole point of having strategic plan and a business plan and know what you want to do, is because, and sometimes we just jump into it as entrepreneurs, so we don't do the research, and we don't make a plan, and we don't think it out, and we don't write it down and make it plain and go over it, because
Put anything along with it.
we just jump into it, and we don't know, we don't even know what a conversion rate is. You get what I'm saying? So we don't even know the number. We don't know what's a good number. And if someone tells us what a conversion rate is, we're not even looking at it in our category of what our business is. We want to look at it to another category that we're not even in. We want to compare ourselves to our girlfriend. She's a bakery, but I have a beauty supply. You get what I'm saying? So
Yes.
we're not even in the same category, but I'm mad because she makes more, her business is doing better than mine. But why should I? I'm not supposed to compare my business to hers because we're not in the same industry. But we don't know that, you know.
Well, listen, we have a business we want to highlight, Miss Danielle. Um, she has a couple things she want to talk to us about. Phenomenal entrepreneur. You guys may have some questions afterwards. So the floor is yours, Miss Danielle.
And it's so crazy because you picked me to highlight it, and I was like, let me use this time to get a little bit deeper. And literally everything we've talked about was what I wanted to kind of share and give people insight into what I do. So DCDR Solutions is my business. Small business entrepreneurship coaching. A lot of it is focused on exactly what you say. Those people that, I always say this, think they want to start a business. I help go through all those basics because somebody will be very passionate about an idea, for a product, but they need to understand at least minimum the basics of what they are getting into. And if they really want to do this business, or if they just want to keep it as a side hustle, because those are two completely separate things. They're not the same. So my background, I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into that. So I'm 20 years in manufacturing. Anybody that wants to pull my receipts, anybody that knows manufacturing, I'm a Lean Six Sigma black belt. So what that means in the manufacturing world is I essentially got like a master's degree in solving problems. And Mr. Jones says it best, it's all based on data. So making sure everybody understands what are your metrics? What are you tracking? Because you can't know how successful you are and how successful you are going to be if you do not know the numbers. And so many people, he said it, you don't even know what you're measuring. You don't know any of these numbers. And it's amazing. Lachey said it, how many people that'll be in business and they don't have a lot of those foundational concepts established. Mika said it. Bringing people on. Do you know how to interview somebody? Do you know basic customer service skills? So I really focus on a lot of the basics, but my skill set is also very close to what Lachey said. I can come in, save a business $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year by simple tactics of analyzing the data, current state data, and putting it up against future state and the journey that needs to get to that future state. But it's very data, process, and standardization driven. That is my go-to, making sure you have processes. So you want to bring on an employee. What is that employee going to be doing? What are your expectations? What's that communication? Are you getting your marketing? Okay, what marketing? Where are you marketing to? What's the plan? What is your intention for wanting to do that? I think that is the bigger thing. And I also, while I'm working with people, focus on that business mindset, because it's a completely different concept. I call it from EE to CEO, because in the manufacturing world, the code for employee is EE. So making that shift from employee to CEO is hard for a lot of people. And just talking them through that and getting them to realize the way they need to approach situations, the way they need to approach networking, vendors, all these different things, potential clients, potential people, they want to do affiliate programs with them, all these different levels. And then another key thing that I like to focus on is layers. Do you have the right layers to your business where you're taking advantage of all of the streams of income you can potentially bring in based on that singular business? Like, oh, you may be financial services, but you can sell t-shirts too with your business. Thinking about those little things that you can do, and it's extremely simple to do that. It's not even complicated. You can set up a shop and people just click and buy. Somebody else makes the t-shirt. You never even touch the t-shirt. But little things like that people don't think of when they're only focused on that one thing. That's what I really try to focus on when I'm working with my clients.
Awesome.
Congratulations. Beautiful. Wonderful job.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions for her?
So what got you into this? What was your motivation? The spark that got you, that lit a fire under you and said, "Hey, I'm out to start DCDR Solutions and help entrepreneurs."
So honestly, it started during the pandemic. When you heard about it, started real early on when they started giving away the money they were giving people. I forgot the name, just lost me. But
Stimulus
I saw
or
this.
stimmies?
Yes, the stimulus. So the first one, I saw this meme, and somebody was like, because as soon as they started doing the stimulus, everybody like, start an LLC, start an LLC, start an LLC, take that money, start an LLC. Then I saw one smart meme where it was like, start an LLC, ... get rich. And I realized like, everybody was yelling at everybody to start an LLC, but nobody was telling them what they needed to do once they start the LLC. An LLC does not automatically generate money. That's one part of it. And that it was that combined with the fact that there was a big difference to me between businesses that learn how to pivot during the pandemic than businesses that failed. And it was like, who's teaching these people some of the things they can do to pivot? Like, okay, some people caught on, but being in Birmingham, Alabama, you still saw so many people like, why is this restaurant closing? Like, people still eating. You can't close the restaurant. Like, why aren't you on DoorDash? Why aren't you on Uber Eats? Why aren't you advertising? Why aren't you dropping off plates if this is your business and or why you pivot to something else? And so, but that was really the foundational spark. And then, because I was helping my business partner start his single business, and watching him do it and be successful and just doing these little tips and just being that commentary and that voice in his ear, like, hey, you probably need to do this. Oh yeah, I do. And you probably shouldn't do that. You should probably do this. And watching the success that he did, that really catapulted me, because you heard about so many people closing businesses, but at the same time, so many people open businesses during the pandemic and are extremely successful, and just want more people to land on I made it through the pandemic with a good business rather than the pandemic destroyed my life.
Wow. Wow.
I like that. I
Yes.
like that.
No. Anybody have any more questions?
So Danielle, do you work with just people in Birmingham or out of state also?
So, because look, I'm actually planning I want to work with Sheila up in Detroit. I do my best work hands on. A lot of that comes with my cat comes with a travel cost, but a lot of the work can be done virtually. But for people with very well established businesses, it's best to do on site, because you want to see it. Because a lot of people, as the head of a business, are you coming in? If you have like a 24-hour operation, are you coming in at all times of night? Are you there in the morning when everybody else gets there? You know what I'm saying? So like those little things that people don't, or do you really know what your staff is doing? Because I have a certain way about me. I can blend in real nonchalantly, and people will tell me a lot more than what they probably telling the boss. And this is why you wasting money. Your people is they cutting corners. They not doing what they supposed to do. And so that when it comes to more established businesses, I like to be on site, but a lot of my base work can be done virtually.
Okay. I just wanted to know so I can share it out.
Yeah. No. Any more questions?
Just applause. I just love what you do. In the field that you do it in. I think it's needed and required.
Absolutely.
I know, and I can't wait to show and prove what I'm capable of for you, Sheila.
I know.
Man. So, well, I think you already said it before, but how long have you been doing this now?
I'm in my first year. I'm the baby of the group here.
Okay.
Feel like so. I'm just picking up speed and momentum, but I got a lot of big plans coming, different concepts I'm playing around with, and I can't wait to hear it as I grow here on the podcast.
Okay. Well, excellent. Look forward to seeing what you guys create. I know you guys cooking up some stuff over there for sure. So,
Yep.
All right. So we have another one here with Miss Sheila Little. You ready to jump on this thing here? Let's go.
So wait, hold on. So you said you wanted me to do something. So
yes. Go ahead and put your screen. Set your screen up.
So I'm gonna play this video. I sent it to Jay, and he wants me to play it for the audience. So
So let us know what y'all think about this video here. I may be able to do it over here. Let me see if I can do it first here.
Okay. All right.
Let me see here.
You over here testing Jay? See, look.
Yeah. Got my skills. Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you starting a network.
I gotta be ready. Let me see if I can make it bigger here. Let me see here. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
All right.
I was doing really well in my life. I had some beautiful sons and a nice relationship, but I still felt empty on the inside. Do you understand that? But you know what? I didn't give up. I wanted to know what this was that was burning on the inside of me that needed to be delivered, to this universe, to this life. And so I went on a journey to the inside.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you today. How is everything? Well, I have a lot to talk about today. You ready? I'm just so grateful to have you as a part of my life. Ever since I've been meeting with you, I've really been realizing a lot of things. I think I become very bossy because of, my brothers and being around them and just resistant to like the change that was happening in my life. And I was very attitudey. I mean, I just would get really attitudey at times. And it's because I was tired. I was just really tired. But ever since I've had this meeting with you, I promise you, I've realized that I am a beautiful, gorgeous, navigating energy successfully. And I just want to say thank you because you've been here for me too and then. So thank you. That's it. So awesome. Man.
What it is that I do, I really help to make individuals whole. A little bit about my backstory. I grew up in Saginaw, Michigan, which was called the number one murder capital of America, and I actually grew up in that neighborhood that saw a lot of violence, but I just always knew that wasn't the life for me, but I didn't know what my life was. To add to that, I am a minority woman in a majority system. So not only can I not find out who I am as an individual, but I can't find out how I fit in into the system when it's not really built for me,
I've realized that I am a beautiful, gorgeous, navigating energy successfully. And I just want to say thank you because you've been here for me.
And I created this space called the space between 0 and 1. And I say that because that's where all possibilities lie. And I actually started our career program in business consulting and created my own model for entrepreneurs in urban communities to really get individuals to start thinking more entrepreneurial, especially individuals in our niche population.
Hey, you guys. Calm down, I'm about to go live.
And I had a faith in God and all of that, but I didn't really know God and understand Him the way I do now.
Hey, this is Dr. Doolittle from Soul Food for Thought. A different type of radio experience. Why? Because we had no idea. Hey, you guys, make sure you log in to that Breast to Bones conference that's going to be going on because I'm ready to see you beautiful organs navigate energy successfully. And remember, this is Dr. Doolittle. Give it credit. Credit is due.
Okay, I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, wow. It's wow, because that is a lot, but that is great that you're saying. You realize you were blaming others, but once you took an inside journey to yourself and you found yourself, you were creating your own mishaps and your own blockage to what it is to your success in the future. That being said, your business is now, I guess, expanding and you create other things, you pick up other things because you now have found your journey. You have now found your solution and resolution to what it was that you felt empty. So do you still feel empty?
Oh no, I feel so full, and I think that's what it is. I tell people I don't feel powerful, I feel full. Because when you're full of whatever that is, and you're able to pour it out, and we do that. Our last venture was a Soul Food for Thought, which is a radio show that we have, and basically it's soul food. What soul food is, the food that somebody didn't want to it to the side, and somebody looked at that food, and when they looked at it, they saw something in it. They saw past the negatives, they saw past all of the problems, and they put some love in it. And that type of love has to be a soulful love to see past that. And I think that when we talk about minority and disadvantaged populations, that is exactly what we're missing, and that is that element of truth that we bring back to those individuals by being able to see past what you think is a negative and turn it into a positive so that you can experience the soulful love and then be able to be full of it to provide to your family, your friends, your community, your businesses. And that's really the only way that you can influence disadvantaged and minority populations, providing them with leadership development, emotional intelligence, the power of trust, and things like that. Cater to that specific minority so that they can be able to use those skills and transition them from the place they used to be to where they're at now, using their prior real, REEL, to really help them function in today's real, the REAL.
Yeah. Academy Award goes to.
Why not you, the landlord? Yes, you.
Let me stop this
Why
one.
aren't you the
He
landlord?
went second.
Huh?
What we doing here?
Um,
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I'm busy reading over here. So, man, you guys have any questions? You still got some stuff you got to talk about anyway, but just based on that alone, you have any questions on that?
I don't have any questions. I just want to say I love it.
Yeah.
I love the message. I'm just hoping that people get the message. I love it. I love the Rubik's Cube. You know, I love everything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. I think the storyline that you told was amazing. I felt that personally. I think the imagery throughout of that was amazing. I felt that personally, and I think that right now there's a great need for what you're offering in our community. I mean, and I say that, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I was incarcerated, and one of the greatest things that happened to me in my incarceration was therapy. That changed my life, literally. And I think people don't understand the importance of it. And it looks like you're tackling so many different types. I mean, there's therapy within your personal journey through life. All of us have had things that have happened to us that have impacted us. Therapy in business and that transition and trying to develop yourself from the employee mindset into a leader, right? And battling all those self-defeating habits. And it sounds like your mission is going to help a lot of people. So I'm just asking God to continue just to bless that vision.
Yeah.
Multiply it tenfold. You're going to impact a lot of lives.
Yeah, I wanna piggyback and just say kudos because you offering yourself to be a safe space for people to be vulnerable. And this, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you gotta hunt your own food, and you spend so much time in this bravado-esque environment to where having a resource available for you to be able to open up, right, and just get some of those anxieties out, or some of the things that you just have in your head that may turn into negative self-talk, being able to have an alternative for that, like, yeah, thank you for doing what you do.
So,
And it's just for them to be able to see, for our community to be able to see you, someone that looks like them, saying it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you coming to talk to someone. And we need that because for years we've been told you don't tell nothing that goes outside the house. You keep everything in. Don't discuss this with no one. And that's why we're hurt. That's why we're walking around with, so much baggage and anger and all of that. And even when we're not angered, it still come across that we're angry, and we get labeled the angry Black woman and the angry Black man. So for you to just put yourself out there, like, kudos to you. Amen. I just hope God just blow it up.
Yes, I definitely wish you many blessings with that.
Where
that
you
is
have
a powerful
one in every
message.
state. One in every state.
Yes.
One in every state.
Yes.
Multiply.
Because we said that last time we talked, that if you're Black in America, 99.99% of us need some level of counseling. And it's one thing to say, it's needed. It's another thing to be a part of the solution. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what you're doing. And I love that you've taken on such a massive task, because there are a lot more people who are asking questions, and they're asking questions, but also feeling overwhelmed, and they have no place to go to get healthy answers. A lot of people end up on just YouTube, and YouTube has a tendency to push you down dark paths. So they really do need a safe place, and you providing that, I think it's absolutely amazing. From race relations to gender roles to just entrepreneurship, there are so many aspects that people struggle with, and that those are the perfect words: safe space. Like, that's what people need. They need a place where they can go when they're dealing with life. And a lot of times your family and friends are the last place you need to go to get any advice from.
Boy,
I
Yes.
think
you
we've
just
Say
said
all
it
a
again.
mouthful. You
experienced
just said a
that one.
mouthful.
Man,
Right.
say it slow for the
So
people in the back.
that one. So to have someone who is a neutral party, because family members tend to have a whole lot of opinions about a whole lot of stuff that they know absolutely nothing about, and
Nothing
have
about.
been completely failed at. They got opinions on how you know it wrong. So that whole dynamic just doesn't leave for a positive conversation in most cases. So having that neutral party, I think, that's what a lot of people need. And I think we as a community need to take away that stigma of counseling. And
Yeah.
even though I do think I am a very good counselor for myself, I know I need counseling outside of myself too. So
Yeah.
I love that you're providing that. And just from everything that I've seen from your presentations from today and even previous presentations, you are very knowledgeable. You have an immense amount of experience, and you're someone that I know I would feel comfortable recommending. So I'm glad that you're on this platform.
Well,
And I
thank
got
you.
I got a I got a piggyback. I ain't gonna be left out of this one. So one of the most I'm a root cause analysis person. That's my specialty. You got to get to the root cause. And one of the most poignant things you said, that you were a therapist, but you realize there's a lot more things people need to address before they even get to therapy. And so that coaching space, because it's blowing up, and I hope more people of color take advantage of, like, there's so many different versions of life coaches out there that provide that safe space, that there's a lot of basics that need to be addressed before you even get to say, therapy is a lot of big stuff, but then there's a lot of little stuff, the day to day. I think you said it once, just, you think everything's going good in your life, but something is missing. There's something deeper. And so whether it is a therapist or a mindset coach, there's all different types of names for it. Like, it's definitely good to have that space. And then I think you also, you talked about accountability. Having that accountability buddy, an accountability person for you in any space, your life or your business, is so crucial, because how do you know you're making progress? You need to keep going back. You need to keep checking in on yourself. You need to keep reevaluating yourself, and having that designated person that can help guide you on that journey is critical. So kudos.
So she sent it to me a little while ago, right? So so yes, well, I seen a little bit of it. I didn't get a chance to see the rest of it. So today I'm sitting there listening to it. I'm like, I can't be selfish. We got to share this. So I got on the phone and listen. We got to share this, and I can tell by everybody's, how you guys the face expression. Like, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it was like everybody just did like this and gave a big hug, man. You know what I'm saying? So salute to you, man. Salute to you.
Yeah, I do wanna say this, because in the beginning it said I was doing really well in my life, right? Like, I had the car and the house and I had everything that was on the list that said, Sheila, you need to go get this stuff, and I still felt empty on the inside. Like, it was like something was missing, like that wasn't it. And I was a therapist then, and I was like in mental health therapy. So people were diagnosed with, like, severe persistent depression, and that was my mindset of mental health back then, like schizophrenia and all of these very severe, like severe, diagnoses. And so, just personal life and things like that, I transitioned and I started working at a college, and I realized that, when I was seeing my people, like, they wanted better for themselves, but it was like real life stuff that was getting in between it, or just the angst about oh, I'm finna graduate, and how do I deal with this emotion? Or I'm going to school and now my mama mad, or I'm doing this and now my boyfriend is mad, and just like real life stuff that was affecting them emotionally, and they were dropping out and they were like not going forward with their goal because they now had to manage this thing called life. And it wasn't because they had depression or anxiety, it was literally a life issue that was getting in the
Yeah.
way. And I think that really changed my thought about, one, what therapy was and who needed it. Right? Like, as we start to transfer our lives and change our lives, like I think that Tamika said it, like we were taught not to express your emotions. I said it yesterday on the podcast, you whoop me, I can't cry, and you hit me with a cord and a belt, but I'm supposed to be quiet and take this. So we were taught to really withhold back our emotions. And when you start a business, and this is why I really focus on entrepreneurs, because you're creating a new space and you need that emotion to pull you, or it's going to trigger it anyway, but it's going to trigger it in your old story, in your old self. And really helping people to manage their emotions is pertinent to a big part of the work I do. I mean, we talk about mindset, and I do mindset work and, skill sets. Like I'll tell you what you need to do to get this done. But a big part of what I do is let's explore these feelings that you have, because that's where your story is. And that is, we need to upgrade your story, upgrade your beliefs, and really tell yourself something different by helping you create a life, the life by design, right? What do you want your life to be, and reverse engineer that, and how we feel in doing this. And introducing people back to their emotional capacity, teaching them emotional intelligence. I just think it's so important, and it has helped me tremendously. And this is not a male thing or a female thing. We all have emotions, we all have feelings, we all want to express ourselves, and that is where our creative energy lies. So it's rewarding, but it's a journey in itself to get individuals to start thinking about how they feel about something, right? And really thinking about how they think about their feelings on something. And that's why I say life, love of self, interactions, focus, and energy. That's why our podcast is focused on life, and as life is happening, as you're trying to shape your business. And we have a lot of people who are professional success but personal failures because they really haven't did the work on themselves. They just shut down even more and more and more. So I want you to be a professional success and a personal success and a professional success. And you can do that.
See,
So,
that's what when I gave said what I was saying, I'm speaking literally from a young black man, from the perspective of, a lot of times we play, just as black men in general, we place a lot of our worth on dollars, on tangible things. So when I said being a safe space for vulnerability, like it's coming from, yeah, it's coupled with, we're all just taught like that, but just you have to have this not hardened facade, or just you have to put your guard up at all times. So when you have some space where you can feel safe, and then comfortable, and then welcomed, and then feel like you're getting assistance with that shadow work that just seems like oh so dark and oh so deadly. When you're getting that help, like that means the world, because I've been able to have, been blessed with someone who sit down and help me out. And for anyone else that I see and find in this world who offers those same type of just services of that presence, yeah, I just have to commend what you're doing, and keep doing God's work.
dope, man, dope. Hey, listen, I know this is a roller coaster here, guys. Yeah, so we're gonna keep rolling, man. We're gonna keep rolling. And also, if you guys want more of that from both of those ladies, tell them a little bit about the podcast, guys.
So we have the Shaping Solutions podcast, How to Elevate in Life, with Jay is our engineer, and it is actually on Mid City Network, and we come on at 7:30 on Monday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And it's just about that, how to elevate in life, your love of self, your interactions with others, your focus, and your energy. And I use the word energy, but really energy is emotion, right? And really how to manage this emotion that's happening in our life, and really make it a part of our experience and not, push it away. And so, we come on. Yesterday we had Unlock Your Potential. I thank all the audience that watches and shares. We have Mindset, and we're going on week 3. So I'm enjoying myself. How about you, Danielle?
Am loving it. I felt very energized. I think this will help start planting those seeds of change that are so needed right now to get people basically piggybacking off of what everybody said, getting to understand, one, it's okay to have help. Two, it's important to get the help. Of course, you want to make sure that the help works with you. To Johnny's point, you want to make sure you feel comfortable and welcome. So that's what we're trying to create, a very comfortable and welcoming space, and talking openly and sharing experiences and whatnot. I think we're not scared to share our experiences with the hopes and intention that it will make somebody think twice about maybe where they're at in their life or some of the decisions that they're making. So very powerful stuff we're sitting on.
Mm.
Yes.
And it's free 99, guys. So tune in.
And
Free.
you guys are all welcome to come on our show or just pitch us ideas, right? Like, hey, you should talk about this. Have you thought about talking about that? Because I definitely want to make sure that we're speaking to the needs of our audience and not what we think the needs of our audience is, based on our personal experiences. So if you have any advice, if you want to come on, talk about things, then that would be good. Just on the life side of business, right?
Excellent. Excellent. All right, guys. Let's jump right back into this thing here. You guys ready? All right, let's go.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Nice.
What are your strengths and weaknesses in business? Let's see who's gonna keep it real.
I got you. I always keep it gangster. I always keep it gangster.
Let's do this.
Keep it gangster all the time. That's my motto.
Yes, sir.
Number one, my I'm gonna start with my weakness actually, because I think that's the hardest part for most people to talk about. And I try to attack it so I can strengthen it. But one of my weaknesses is I'm loyal to a fault when it comes to business. Right, I will literally ride that junk until it's falling off the cliff because I believe in it so much. And sometimes you have to have the. We talk about emotional intelligence to say, wait a minute, this ain't the smart move. You should, you need to make another decision. So I can be loyal to a fault. Also, I think that's my biggest one, because when I look back at all my business moves, the one that I think got me in the most trouble is just not knowing when to get off of the ship, when to get off the train, right? So that would be number one. I think second one, and tied with that is I'm probably I'm more confident in myself than most, but I still lack the confidence I believe I need to get to where I'm trying to go to. Does that make sense? So I'm confident as hell, but I know there's another level of that confidence that would allow me to really take things to the next level. And so I did identifying, a lot of it comes from what Sheila talked about, that inner work. We still have things that I don't want to go into it because I will go on a tangent. But we still got things that we got to work on that create those limiting beliefs, right? So attacking those limiting beliefs. So those are my weaknesses. I think there's a lot more, but I'm just going to the top two. My strength, yeah, of course. I'm just saying, keeping it real with you.
Hey, that's what I want. That's what we want. Real.
But my strength is is my ability to empower people. That's not only my strength, but it's also my passion. I do a lot of work with men. It's one of my passions. I have a segment that I'm starting called the Men's Mission, and it's really to empower men to tap into their greatness and realize that we're not what happened to us. And there's a lot of brothers out here that don't understand that. I was incarcerated, I told you, and I met a lot of young men and OGs. I'm talking when I say OG, that's my statement for older people, OGs. So
yeah.
If you're 65 or older, you hit an OG status. So, and I mean, it's crazy. I've seen a 17-year-old and a 65-year-old battle the same issues as it relates to self-worth, as it relates to believing that there's more out there, not believing what they've been taught or not believing what they were told they are or what they're worth. So that's my number one goal, is just to empower people to be greater than they ever thought possible by becoming someone they never thought possible. So
Dope.
my experience is empowering people.
Dope.
Nice.
That's dope. Anybody else?
I think too, I'm an empower. I love to, really help empower people. I guess my strength is introducing people to the person that God created them to be. I think that's my greatest strength, right? Like reintroducing you back to the person that you were initially meant to be, that you left a long time ago because somebody didn't feel like she was good enough. And I'm there to like reunite you guys. So that's my strength. And I do that in various ways. My weakness, though, is I think you guys heard me talk about the DISC assessment, right? Where I'm the pilot. It's the problem, we're going to get you there. And then I can do the second thing too. But my weakness has always been in that S&C, like just the small details and, making sure that the data, like I have the numbers, right? And making sure that I'm doing these small metrics that make huge differences in your business, but being focused enough to do that. And when I realized that that's why my businesses were struggling, I hired in that, right? Because I know that it's an important avenue. I know about it. I know the genre, but I don't have to get into it, and do it myself. Because if you left it to me to do it, it's going to be the last thing that get done when it should be the first thing that I'm waking up to in the morning. And so hiring somebody to make sure that they're doing that and they're looking at those numbers. And then now when I get them, I know how to use them to make the impact that I want to make on the individual's lives. So that would be definitely a weakness of mine. I'm a big thinker. When it gets down to the little things, it's like I know this needs to be done, but I'm tired. I don't want to, it's just like I get distracted. And then I'll go create something else big, which is another weakness. I'll go create this whole other thing. And I stopped doing that. I really did. I was like, no, we're not going to create something. We're going to hire somebody to finish this so we can create the next step in this process, right? And we don't have to keep starting that one again. We can go to the next step, and then I can get back into my creative energy again once I get these numbers and figure it out. So that would be that would be my weakness.
I think my weakness is caring more than my clients and my teammates and employees do. I think I care more than they do about whatever. Because whatever it is, I think I have more invested in them than they do themselves.
I've been told that before. I feel you on that.
Yeah. So I've been told that I need to cut it off, step back, let them bump their head, let them figure it out. But it's hard for me to see that when I know they're going to walk into this brick wall. My strength is as long as you're open to it, coaching development. I can get you to wherever you want to go. If you say this is what I want to do and I want to get to the next level, I can get you there. But you just have to be trainable, coachable.
I think my weakness is somewhere in between Tamika and Sheila. I call it going down the rabbit hole. That's my weakness. I get so excited, so passionate because I'll see the potential in someone, the potential in a business, the potential in a project, that I'll get so dedicated, so all in, and I'll start doing research and all of this stuff. And it's just like, sometimes it's on a specific topic. Like, let's say originally I wasn't great at email marketing. Granted, I'm great now, but didn't start that way. So I just went down this rabbit hole, did all this research, and it's just like, granted, I probably could have just hired somebody, outsourced that to someone, but I like to learn. And that can be a big weakness, because when I could have launched a product by now I've spent, several months just on the research phase of it. So I would say that can be one of my weaknesses. And I do the same thing when it comes to businesses. I see the potential in the business, and sometimes I find myself working harder than that person is working for their business. And that's definitely something that I've had to remind myself of and work. First things first. No, we didn't come here for these 15 other things that we started doing. doing. We came here for this one specific purpose. Let's do that. First things first. So that I would say is one of my weaknesses. And then one of my strengths, um, I would say, is being the person who is willing to tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. And I feel like in this industry of marketing, everyone is so focused on sell, 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 make BS sound like greatness. And I'm not that person.
Yeah.
And I feel like this industry needs more of that in marketing across the board. I'm the person to tell you that no, your employees aren't doing what they're supposed to. They clocked out at 4. Y'all don't close the 5 to point
Okay.
out those things. And, people aren't always happy when they get that. And I'm pretty sure there are people who would find that to be a weakness. But realistically, if you want your business to be sustainable, to fix problems, you need somebody who's willing to point out those problems or room for improvement. And I believe every business has an opportunity for room for improvement. And I think that's something that is a strength of mine, that I always see a way of making things better. And I'm not afraid to say what that thing is, regardless of if it goes against what popular, because popular belief is whatever, it's worth its weight in nothing. So just being willing to say what needs to be said, I think that's one of my strengths.
Absolutely.
I feel like Lachey stole my answer. Nah,
I
but
feel like we're
mine,
kindred spirits,
yeah,
like
because
half
my
of
my
US
weak
away.
my weakness is like I to your point, I dream big for somebody else to take a step back, and that's where that mindset piece and what Sheila does comes into play, because you can sit here and pick and draft up $1 million concept for you, and I didn't realize that's overwhelming to some people. Because like I said, I work with people that are at that day one, step one. I'll sit here and be like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do all of this. And when people I thought you wanted a business. But I have to realize you have to take a step back and evaluate where their mind is, because they are not me. So they are not thinking like me. And I've definitely gotten better with trying to figure out that level of the person, best gauge, okay, how much can I pitch to them in phases and whatnot. But my strength, hands down, I love solving problems. It sounds so cheesy, but love when somebody gives me a problem, and especially something numbers, or usually number based business problems or number based situation problems is easy, because to Lachey's point, there's no emotion. Take the emotion out. I don't care what you feel about this. You're losing this much money because you're doing this. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
This person, like you said, this person is losing you money. I'm going to let you deal with that, but these are the facts based on the numbers. Take the emotion out of it, take the feelings out of it. And that's what I try to bring to the table, is that I call it translating the information. Like, okay, you may not want to hear it this way. I'm gonna put it in a way that I hope rings true to you and that you hear me. But at the end of the day, it's your decision to make, and I'm okay with that, because that's another one of my strengths. I'm not about to sit here and put all my emotions on your decision, because
Right.
that's your life.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Well, I guess I got my weakness is I think I'm a bit too much of a doer. So I have to force myself to prolong, like when I got introduced to processes and systems that changed and saved my life, because it coincides with my strength. My strength is that I'm a very innovative person. Um I fast tracked my way through, the insurance and finance career, to where like at a point in time I'm consulting people who've been in that industry as long as I've been alive, and I'm telling them things that like, wait a minute, you can do what? We can do what? And but then that also goes into, like I said, my weakness is that I'll go ahead and I'll read something and I'll immediately want to implement it. I'll immediately want to apply it. And so having to force myself to sit back and say, no, give yourself 3 weeks to go through and test this, to figure it out, look at some alternatives, figure out how to implement it so that way it complements what you're already doing. and work smarter rather than harder, because there've been so many times I've had a profitable idea and I just ran with it, and then I got to realize after a while, like, man, this is going to take a lot more work than I thought this was going to take. Yeah, it's a great idea, but I should have planned this out. So my strength and my weakness, it's like a game of basketball with me. It just goes back and forth. It's tennis. I'll have this great idea and it'll be game changing. And I'm not afraid to stand on that. I am a financial strategist. I spend my time reading a lot of things that most people don't want to read, and that's fine, because it helped me out in the long
That's
run.
why they pay you.
Uh, and
Absolutely.
so, so at
Pay
the
you to
end of the
read.
day, yeah, but it's like when you come across something, right, and you realize, like, I'll tell you, one of the books I advise everybody to read is that Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. Um, when I read it and I found out about uh, um, equity linked certificates of deposit. So you got a certificate of deposit, this safe investment, so to speak, but it's tied into an index, the growth of the S&P 500, for example. My first thought is, who sells these? Let me go ahead. I'm calling. I done talked to somebody at Wells Fargo, and they I've already just I'm getting information on it, and it's like, well, hold on, man, you can't even really, like, yeah, you could get involved with this, but just take your time to read about it, figure more out, make this a more seamless investment, rather than, all right, well, I have this money and I kind of thought I was going to do this with it, but this seems like a good investment, and just doing right rather than taking the time to, like, all right, you had this awesome idea, take some more time to elaborate on it, that business plan thing, right? That back to where I came in on the conversation. That saved me so many times, because it'll pull me back to the basics and ground me to say, okay, this is what the original plan was. Now we're gonna go back and revisit it, and we have something that we can go in. It may be better than what you wrote down 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago, but figure out how to replace it. The same way, like, we're talking about hiring and firing individuals, right? Usually you want to make sure that you have somebody else that's going to step in before you want your hand on the next branch before you swing to the next, uh so to
Absolutely.
speak. So it's like that, even with planning and coming up with these, changes and innovations, because I believe in being disruptive. I think that's the only way that we're really going to be progressive, is by being disruptive to the status quo.
Right.
I do want to add this though to mine. You know what? Because I heard Danielle say that she is a problem solver, and I do feel like that is one of my strengths too. But I help solve emotional problems that look like really big emotions to you, and then I shrink those. That's one of my strengths, and that's how I get to introduce a person to themselves, because I think we have so much judgment around our emotions, especially quote unquote bad ones. And so one of the things I do really well is problem solve. And that's why the business is called Shaping Solutions, because I help to, my gift is really to help you shape a solution in your life and what that would look like for you.
Sheila, I rarely watch TV, but there's a show I watch called Billions. I don't know if anybody's ever watched Billions on. I think it's on, like, Stars. You watched it, Jay?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen it.
So they have a character on there. Her name is Wendy Rose, but she's a performance coach. She's a therapist, but this is a hedge fund. This is, billionaires. But the whole thing is that they have this
Did you stop?
I think he froze.
Ah,
am I back?
yeah, you
Right
back.
there, you back.
All right. No, I was saying the most essential person in this business on the show is lady who's the performance coach, but she's a therapist, by trade. Which just goes to show how the emotional, issues that people deal with, how it affects their performance, and you being able to help people process that. Like, I'm gonna go back to it. Like, thank you, once again, for just doing what you do, because it's just gonna make the world a better place, and you know
Thank you. Thank you, Johnny. I have a question. Jebecca, how do you say your name, Mr. Jones? Is it
You,
Jebecca?
yep, you got it. Like
Okay.
Rebecca, but with a J.
Okay. All right.
Rebecca.
So as you guys can see, if you're a new investor, I mean, investing business owner, right? We all have strengths and weaknesses, right? Coming in the game, man. So you won't know every single thing, but you're gonna try your best to make your weakness one of your strengths, right?
Yeah.
That's the goal to this whole thing. So, all right. So let's see who's gonna be honest with this right here, right? Um, let's go. Name one key place in your business where you waste time or you're wasting time.
I'm about to go in there.
Meaning that you
Let me
know you
jump.
should be doing something else and it makes you money, but you spend your time doing on something else that doesn't make you money. Let's see who keep it real.
You have to
I'm
drink
gonna
some of
tell
that,
you.
Sheila.
I do. I do. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest. I plant seeds.
Hey, we're gonna give him something.
I, I'm be honest. I'm gonna jump this off.
All right.
I spend time. I do more, and I'm not gonna call it charity work, but I spend time really wanting to educate people who don't even qualify to do
Yeah.
what it is that I help people do. But it's just a situation to where man, like in my eyes, I know everybody has this different journey and everybody preaches this, your life ain't my life. But guess what? We all deal with the IRS. We all, if you making a business, you worried about revenue, you're worried about cash flow. We're worried about some of the same things. So I spend a lot of time really trying to educate people and share the knowledge that I've found, and it'll fall upon deaf ears. And I'm just like, I don't need to be talking to you. I need to. And the sad part is sometimes it ends up. I want to talk to us. I want to talk to us about it, and because I have to realize that, man, you can't jump off with a high level conversation. You can't jump it off. But that's just like, dude, if you only knew whether you like it or not, what you just made all this money from driving Uber. Yeah, you got 1099. Yeah, bro. You did this, you got your own business, and I want to share this, and it's like, bro, you are wasting your time. You follow your plan. I know you want to do charity work. Figure out another time for you to do this and argue with people at the barbershop about what they but but get back to the plan. So that's I just kind of beat myself up about that today. So
Yeah, I think a big place where I waste a lot of time at is aesthetics. Like, I am so big on details. Like, if okay, so y'all see my little Sal University. So Sal is my
Yeah,
mascot.
that
But do
shirt is
y'all
so
see,
cute.
like, he has so many details. He got like a little squirrel that got our like 6 P's in it, and like it's just for me. I do get caught up in the details. Like, okay, does this look like that? Which is why I had to hire a marketer, because I was doing graphics similar to Lachey, figuring this thing out, going down the tunnel. And then I'm like, oh, this letter is gonna be like on the line of this letter, and now I'm clicking up and clicking down, and and I'm just like, you know what, Sheila, hire a marketer to do the graphic designs for like your posts and things like that, and then you can just tweak it on the back end. In my office right now, I just did a remodel. We added on 5 offices in a conference room, and one of the things I go up here, and it's the aesthetics. Like, I want each office to have its own feel. Like, when I bring people in, it's like this experience. Like, and then I'm just like, girl, you better hire a designer, because you will never get these offices up and running if you don't just hire a designer and then come in and tweak what they do. So I think I waste a lot of times aesthetically on things, just how it's supposed to look. And I do houses. Like, when I remodel a house, right? We go in. I need my mama say, every house you get, you always tearing down a wall or something. You don't got to tear down walls. And I'm like, yeah, but when you
Want to
start
tear down
from,
this wall.
when you start from nothing, like, you can build up, right? But then now we done tore down the wrong wall, or tore down the wall and
Oh
realized
God.
that it's this thing right there. So now that it took longer. So yeah, just aesthetics. I waste a lot of time. Just just very detail
Um,
oriented.
I
So my mom
gotta, I
told
gotta.
me she could send something on Sunday. If I don't approve it, it still go out on Monday. Because if I be like, hold on, do this and tweak this, and then let me deal
She
with
ain't
the
stunting
emotion.
you.
Because done is better than perfect, right? And I
Right. It
literally
is.
had to say, done is better than perfect, Sheila. Done is better than perfect. And so, yeah, I put a lot of structures around my little weaknesses, though. So it's like, done is better than perfect. So it go out on Monday.
I got to piggyback off of Johnny because that's me because you got to you want to get the message out. And I spend a lot of time talking to people, like you said, that I know they're not going to work with me or I know they're not the right fit for me, but you just hope that I'm planting kind of seeds that's going to grow at some point in time. But I do waste a lot of time talking to people that they're not even on the same level. And
Yeah.
I've gotten better at it where it's like just acknowledging, hey, I can't even waste my energy right here. But
You,
then it's that interstitial space of people that kind of on the brink that I still spend a lot of time on, and I'm really trying to transition my mind where it's like I'm going to work with people that want to work with me. I'm going to, people that are seeking me out or
yeah.
truly interested in my business and what I'm doing because I'm so passionate about it. As soon as somebody asks me, it's like, yeah, I'll start rambling off and projecting things for them. Like, oh, well, you could be doing this, you could be doing this. And they just, oh, okay, hit you with that. Like, oh man. But you
And
just
and
hope.
they don't even realize what the information you're giving them. You could be charging. I could, and it goes into that whole, was it
Yes,
the I forgot what that book is. Um, it's about like the how people just focus on the value or something, like with a price tag, and that's the more,
yes,
the emphasis on it. So you can give somebody life changing information, and when your business comes out of, which most everyone on here comes out of, a place from you needing your business right now, you are what you needed at a certain point in time. I got
yes.
into this because I realized I was in the music industry and audio engineer, and I didn't really realize how everything was financed. So I got into the finance industry because I realized everything was just a loan at the end of the day. And when I got out of it and I want to help the people who are already in, they're like, yeah, yeah, that's cool, that's cool. But it's like, no, it's real, and you want to share that because it comes from such a honest, space in your life where it helped you out, and you want to share that with people. But sometimes not everybody's receptive. But I feel
Amen.
like, Daniel, I feel where you're coming from on that.
You just hope that the seeds are being planted. That's all.
Just
One
please.
day they'll get there.
So you were saying piggyback, and I have to piggyback off of Sheila. I laughed the whole time she was talking because I felt like she was singing my song. Um, everything she said, and probably 10 times worse. I go down the rabbit hole. That's what I call it, going down the rabbit hole. And really, like you said, it's a attention to detail and being so heavily focused. I will be working on a design for a client and spend like an hour looking through fonts because I'm trying to feel the font that makes me feel.
I
And that's not
do.
necessary in most cases because done, and I'm gonna steal that. So sorry, but I'm telling you in advance, I am definitely gonna steal that. That done
It's
is
better.
better than perfect, and that is my biggest issue as far as a waste of time. I will focus on, okay, like, does this shade of green, or do we need like a little bit more blue in it, a little bit more yellow? They've got this circle, but then there's this one, and it is just, I have found that it's much more beneficial for me to, because I am detail oriented, to outline a plan, give it to someone else, let them work their interpretation, and then critique that interpretation. That cuts down so much time because me behind the scenes, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Days will pass. It'll look beautiful when it's done, but
The
it'll
day
take an
The people
obscene
don't
amount of
care.
time.
No, I'm serious
Right.
though.
And that's
Y'all
the
know,
hardest part.
listen,
It's like,
y'all.
you understand, that's part of my
Yeah,
soul on that paper.
It is. So I'm serious.
thing is
This little
so
scroll on here got
detailed.
words. It has words
This
on it.
logo got three colors, and it's was all get out. I was looking at the I was like, damn, I like
It's like, no, I want passion, purpose, persistence, performance, and it's like, we
Yes.
can't get that on
Everything
this
has
little.
meaning, and yeah, and all this time, and 80% of the people don't even catch like
no,
half
they don't.
of what was put into that
Yes.
design. And that just make you even more frustrated at the fact that you wasted all this time and nobody even got it. So
So listen,
so yeah.
the redwood trees used to be my logo. Do y'all know about the redwood trees in They're over in California, the big,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And so that was my metaphor, right? These redwood trees, and they're the tallest trees, but they don't go deep. They connect to one another, and they share their supply. And every picture had like a redwood tree at my old building, and it was like I had this whole story about this is why we're nobody caught that. Nobody's like, what tree is that?
You're
Like,
doing
why
it
did
for
you
you. You're
choose the
doing it for you,
redwood
baby.
tree? Huh?
It was an
You're doing
Easter
it for
egg.
you, baby. That's all that matters. Just do it for you. That's like my
I'm in the
hexagons. I did it
shade.
for
I'm in the
me.
shade. Like, listen, we're gonna pass that on to somebody, and create. I'm gonna create an experience in my house. You come to my house, it's an experience. But in this,
Exactly.
in this space, I'm not wasting time.
All right, we have one more presentation by Miss Lachey. Miss Lachey, let me know when you're ready.
I am ready. So, again, my name is LaShay LaRue, and I am the owner of Cherish Investments. And my mission is just to help individuals who own businesses, whether it is you selling a product or service, or it is you as a personal brand, to reach your target audience. In my years of business development, that is the area that I found that most people struggle in. We mentioned it earlier. It's that customer's journey. Most people have never even thought of their customer journey. They're just kind of taking a dart and throwing it at a wall blindfolded. They are trying different methods that they have found online or researched online that can be successful, but they don't have any real plan in place. So when I work with the client when it comes to business development, I try to start at the beginning, evaluate the entire business and figure out where are the gaps that you have within your business. Actually put pen to paper and outline your customer journey and figure out what areas do we need to revamp, what areas do we need to eliminate, what areas do we need to include, and make sure that we are increasing your conversion ratio, making sure that we are lowering your cost of acquisitions for a customer and increasing the average spend per lifetime of a client. So that basically means in the entire time that that client is working with you, how much money are they spending? And I try to help individuals to increase that. So you may have just been offering an initial service, but you can easily add on an additional supplemental service or offer a subscription and increase your bottom line. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all in it for to a certain extent. We all want to make money, but a lot of times we forget that we're also in the problem solving and helping business. So I am most effective when working with clients by helping them to actually outline their brand story. A lot of times people get on social media, they partake in these different forms of marketing and they focus so hard on the sale. Buy my product, buy my service, buy. But that is the least effective way of marketing. People think that because they see things of large companies like Pepsi or large food chains like Cheddar's, but realistically, they put millions of dollars into their campaigns. And when you're a small business owner, you're working with a very small budget. So you have to be a little bit more strategic about your efforts. And a lot of people haven't even thought of a brand story, don't even know what that is. And a brand story goes beyond just your mission statement, vision statement. Your brand story is establishing your customer as the hero of the story and you as the guide who takes them from a place of a problem to a place of a solution, which should be your product. So I help them to better define that. And I help them to then take that and figure out how to use that communication in their customer journey so that they can actually speak to their customer and not speak at their customer, where it's an engaging process where their audience, they're building a true following. Because if you really think about it, it's followings that make businesses successful. It's not just great products, because there are plenty of crappy products that are doing quite well, and there are great products, there are great singers, there are great athletes who are getting no action. Why? Because they don't have a community behind them who support them. So I focus on building a community around these brands, establishing a brand through creating a brand story and making sure that that brand story is communicated throughout the customer journey and improving every level of it. So That for the most part is my business in a nutshell, and I do that through individual services, through coaching and consulting, which is really what I'm focusing more on, because again, I have an extensive history of working with small business owners, and I've done the DIY part of it where I'm like, I'm going to do this for you, but I realized so many of them don't even know what they don't know. And that became my biggest issue. They don't even know. They don't even know what content marketing is. They think content marketing is buy, 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 buy. And I have to explain to them that it's not that, that it's actually you building a reputation so that when that person needs that service, you're top of the mind. That's a process, and that does not happen overnight. So I saw that there was a huge lapse in education for entrepreneurs because it's not something that we're taught in school. It's not something that we're taught in college. It's not something that we're taught throughout life. We just see problems and we try to provide solutions, but no one tells us how to communicate that, how to do it effectively, how to optimize that, how to scale that. No one tells you that stuff. So I wanted to do more on the education side, and I've put out a series of classes on Eventbrite. I've got one that I do on email marketing, the art of content marketing. I've got a 13-point marketing plan that basically goes over everything that a person needs to do from beginning to end as far as establishing a customer journey. What are the things you need to think about, and what do you need to do? Then I have my business one-on-one, which is just a little bit of a collaborative of everything for the people who are just kind of getting started and trying to figure it all out. And they don't know what they don't know. By attending that class, you'll have better questions to ask. And that's half the battle. Half the time, people don't know what questions to even ask because this information has never been presented to them in a way that wasn't buy, buy, buy. Buy my coaching program, buy this thing. No, it's about providing value and educating your community. So that is in general what Cherish Investments is. I hope I explained it in the way that you wanted me to.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You guys have any questions for her?
Now, just a comment. Well, yeah, I do have a question. So, how long is your process? Like, do you have you work with a client so long, or is it yeah, like do you have like a 6 week process, an 8 week process, a 10 week process? Like, how long are you actually working with clients when you get them in?
Yeah, so I offer a few different services. One of the main services that a lot of my clients fall under, it's the business development. So that's where I'm going in. I'm doing a complete analysis of their business to get them to what I call a marketable state because I do business development and marketing. So that first phase is usually 3 to 4 months, and then I take on the marketing after that. So that's pretty much until you either hire in staff or you learn enough for you to do it yourself. So that can range. But with me seeing that most people they are established, but they're not established. So what they need is education. So I put together a educational program, and the educational program is more so a 3 to 6 month program. So it just depends on how much development you want after the fact. Do you just want the education, or do you want education and then additional mentorship? I don't believe in programs that just give you a wealth of information. It doesn't even give you an option to go back and ask questions. And now that you've learned and you're trying to implement, what do you do? Because I know for me, when I was just starting off and I was just quitting my 9 to 5, even though I had did business development before, it's very different when you're doing something as a quote unquote hobby than when you're doing it as a full-time business and you have to worry about the scalability and bringing on more clients for you to make the same level of income that you were before, especially if you were effective in your previous business and you have a lot of word of mouth. What happens when that runs out? So I learned that you needed more, and I would reach out to coaches and I would reach out to people for information, and I kept finding that they give you information, but then when you're trying to figure out how it applies to your specific situation,
Yes.
ghosting, like there's nothing, or they want $20,000, and it's like, if I'm the same level of broke that I was before I contacted you, I don't understand
Yes.
where this 20,000 is supposed to come from. So that's kind of where kind of the wheels were going in my head. And after working with a couple of clients, I realized, okay, so it doesn't matter whether you're a small business or a medium business. Most people struggle with that. And I wanted to make sure that I kind of bridged that gap, and I offered a solution for people to learn and have interactive learning. So it's not just a program where it's just me sitting there and just talking through a bunch of stuff. It's interactive. And then after you've received all that information, now come ask me questions about what you're actually doing. We've got homework that you're doing through that the first few weeks that we're
Right.
working, but then after that, now you're trying to implement real life into your business. Bring it back to me when you revamp your social page. I want to see what that looks like when you get done with your social templates. I want to see that and give you that feedback before it ever gets to market to ensure your success. I believe in setting people up for success and not failure just so I can charge them later. Like, just
Yeah,
have a plan that allows for that.
love
Well,
that. I
I
got
definitely feel like kudos to you. I have been through some the brand messaging process. I went through that. That's the blue. That's the blue thing I showed you, Danielle, and I think I
yep.
said it to you too, Jay. Um, and it was transformational. So to all the entrepreneurs, like that process of what knowing your customer's journey and your customer's story and speaking to your customer was amazing. And it was a mindset shift because I do think as an entrepreneur, we come in like my problem, like Johnny said, this is a problem I had. So listen to my story, listen to my thing, right? And how do you convey that and connect that to what your client is going through and speak their language so they feel like, wait, hold on, are you talking to me? So but I am in this revamping stage, right? Especially with the podcast and everything. So I think I'm gonna be reaching out to you, Lachey. Might as well, keep it in the family.
And I
Love that.
have to
Please do.
That's what it's
piggyback
about.
on something that she said. I know we run out of time, but especially for the audience, people are investing in you. Like that is one of the biggest things I try to get the point across. And you said it, like that whole sell, sell, sell. There's a million people doing what each and every single one of us are doing. So why are they coming to us? They're coming for us, and that's what you have to get across. And that's like you working with people to help them get that. That's very critical because so many people with that concept of they're buying into you. They're investing in you. There's a reason why they chose you. You're not the. This is 2022. There's very few things where it's only one person doing. So the reason why they're coming to you, you have to show your personality. You know, what is your why? What is your mission? What is your passion? That has to come through. So that was deep. I love that. Keep up the good
Now,
work.
And I think marketing, like Lachey said, marketing is so important to your
Yeah.
business. And I think that when we start our business, we started based on not just our needs, but the needs of our first circle. And if we're looking at a bullseye, right? It's like you have you, and then you have this, and then you have this, and then you have, like these bigger spaces. And what marketing does is it takes you out of the, like, I want to sell this shirt to this one shirt to a million people. How do I market this one shirt to sell it to a million people versus making a million shirts to sell to one person? And talking to a marketer would tell you one is that if that's a good decision. But if I wanted to sell this outside of my bullseye, outside of my zone, like what is my plan to do that? What message am I sending to do that? And sitting with the marketer can help you do that. And one of the other things I want to say, and Lachey, I've not seen your work or anything like that, but every marketer is different. And I love what she said when she said, okay, I teach, this is stage one, I do this is stage two, and then this is stage three. Because sometimes we hire marketers and they can say, oh, I'll help to, give you more conversions. And then you get with them and they're just like, they do one thing that, yeah, in the line of sight, you know what I mean, with 10 other things I need to do that hire another marketer do, your one thing will help with that, but it's not real. Like they're not as inclusive in that marketing
I
process.
love that you said that because that's the whole reason that I say my business focus on business development and marketing is second. Because when I initially got involved into the marketing, that's what I would find. I can send you a million leads, but if your staff is not answering the phone,
That
you've got
all
zero
of that.
sales. And that has nothing to do as a reflection of my ability as a marketer and everything to do with you as a business owner and you not having an efficient system in place. I can send you leads, but if you are not actually monitoring where your leads are coming from, how do you know what I've sent you? You
Facts.
may, and a lot of
You
times
measure it.
entrepreneurs will think it's them, which I get it. I get why, because we all live in our heads and we all think of our own story and we're so great. And we're all individuals. We're all really important. And that's awesome. But at the same time, from a business standpoint, if you're trying to figure out where to maximize your efforts, how are you going to know that if you're not tracking it? If what actually happened was because I ran this specific ad, well, I can't necessarily track that on my end because I need to know how many deals you closed, as we were talking about earlier about conversion. And a lot of entrepreneurs, surprisingly to me, when I got started, they don't have a system at all in place for any of this. They've never had that conversation. They've never had anyone ask them that question. And they have a business plan, but these are things that normally is not included in a business plan. That's why I kind of focus on marketing plans, because marketing plans are a little bit more specific to what the conversion is for each of your avenues and how do they translate into actual sales. So, but you hit the nail right on the head when you said that, because yeah, I can do all the work in the world, but if you don't have that system in place, then it's all for naught. And I found that time and time again with various clients in various industries, they would be very successful, and it would almost be an issue where they would have so much business coming in, but then their system wasn't in place to handle an increase in business, which was a whole nother problem. So I made it a point to focus on the system as a whole and what things do you need to have in place in order for you to scale. Everyone wants more business, everyone wants more sale. Very few people can accommodate an increase in business, can accommodate an increase in sales. When you're dealing with a one-on-one and a referral
You better
business, it's
say.
easy to like get a notebook. Where's my notebook? And get a piece of paper and write it
Bro,
down
don't
and
get
mind
me
that.
started
But
on the notebook.
right, when you're talking about thousands, and if you get to the point of millions, how do you track all that? How do you track all those different leads and nurture those relationships in a way that feels organic? That's a whole nother ball game. And although everyone has thought of, I want more business, I want more sales, I want to make more
Y'all don't
money,
want
I
that
have a
smoke.
mission, it need to happen and help everyone, that is true. But it can only happen if I deal with the if part, like if we do
Thank you.
these things. So that's where my 13-point marketing plan came from. It's or not, I shouldn't say marketing plan, it's more of a marketing strategy. The 13 points is basically just go through these 13 steps and then we can talk. Like, well, let's go through these steps and make sure we have these things. And now we can get proper data to figure out what areas do we really need to be working in. You may be thinking, oh, I need to definitely be doing Instagram because everyone's on Instagram, but your best lead source may be
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, which is vastly different, like not even kind of the same. Your best lead source may be nothing online and be you actually going to networking events,
Yeah.
getting leads, and then following up with those leads with email marketing. You've never even thought about that. You've been sponsoring things, not nurturing your list, not collecting information, all kinds of stuff. So that's what the 13 points are. It's like, here are these areas that people forget to do. And I know for me, it was transformative, the idea that I'm not the hero of my story, my client is, because we all have these amazing reasons why we got into business. We saw a problem, we were super passionate about it, and that's why we developed this business. So we spend so much time focused on that story, but realistically, the most effective story is one where you're talking about that problem and how it affects this person, and you as the expert who can solve that problem and take them to a better place. So that very simple thing, for me, it was something that I had never even thought of, and it was a book that I had read that introduced the idea to me. I think it's Creating a Brand Story, and it was just like, oh, that's so simple. I've been over here struggling trying to figure out like how to write all this content, like write all these landing pages. But that very simple idea just completely changed the game for me. And I realized when I started going through most of my clients or leads, they all had the same issue, because it's not something that you really think about. Like, you know what is effective as marketing visually when you see it, but you never think about what is the theory or idea behind it that actually makes it effective. And once you understand that, you can scale it much more easy. You can replicate it much easier. So that's what I try to help people to do, to get to that marketable state, like where we can actually figure out, okay, here are the avenues where we're going to focus on. We've already set our KPIs, our key performance indicators. These are the things that we're going to attack. These are the things that we're going to track, because you don't need to track everything. And here are the areas where we're going to try to promote your business, and then we're going to evaluate, and we're going to come up with a new plan, because you should always be evolving your business, evolving your plan. It's not just a set and go thing. So I think to your question earlier, when you were saying how long is it, I mean, I would hope that more of my coaching clients, for it to be long term, forever. I want to always be the person, the same way you are for coaching, for personal life and what you got going on. I want you to always be able to call me, hey Lachey, I got this going on, it's really weird, it's never happened before, I don't really know. Because that's one thing that COVID taught us. Weird stuff can happen. Things that you thought were reliable, that were consistent, when you just thought that you knew how your business goes on a day-to-day basis, where your customers go, and how you handle them, that can change at any given point in time. So I want to continue to have that relationship with people. And that's just how my business is set up.
Listen, this was dope. This was probably number one for me here. A lot of content. Everybody came in, everybody looking great, man. You guys did phenomenal. And I'm gonna let you guys know I have one more bombshell question, but we ran over time. But come back next week, I got something for you guys, man. So one question to you guys: did y'all have fun?
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody
Very
else?
good discussion.
Definitely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, most definitely.
We hope the audience is listening.
Absolutely.
Right.
So everybody, please like, share, subscribe, man. See you guys next week. I tell you what, how they reach you guys? Just tell us real quick how they reach you guys, and then we get off. Give us your handles and all
So
that. I know it's
for
right here.
me, you can follow me on Instagram as well as Facebook, and my handle is just next to my name. So it's Cherished Investments. That's also the name of my agency. You go to either of those social platforms, and it can take you to my website, where you can find out more information about my services. I also have a ton of free resources, just general things that I found that people needed. So that's a place where you can go for that.
What about you, Danielle?
For me, DCDR Solutions. So that at DCDR Solutions, Danielle MacArthur. Slide in my DMs professionally, please. Thank you.
Professionally. Yep. You can contact me at on the social media handles at I Am Shaping Solutions. So that's on Instagram, Facebook.
All right. What about you, Joe?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Johnny Leverage, and also at my website, anyadinfinite.com. Book a discovery call. Let's sit down. Let's talk. Check out the content on the website. You may learn something or two.
Absolutely. What about you, Jones?
Man, you can just find me on Jebecca Jones. I'm pretty much the only Jebecca Jones, so that's my blessing. You can find me. Just Google me. I'm everywhere. Social, Facebook, IG. They just took my TikTok down, so I got to rebuild that. Also, you can go to pinnaclefundinggroup.net if you know a business owner that has a challenge getting business funding. You can go to that and get business funding as well. And I really, first of all, I just want to say that you guys are all amazing. It's my first time on. I learned so much from each and every one of you, and I'm definitely just honored to be here and looking forward to following each and every one of you as well.
Likewise.
I'm gonna put on the spot. You coming back?
I know you finally got your male energy and your male help that you've been asking for.
He needs help.
Let me tell you what the brothers. Yeah, they did me wrong last week, man. So I got some brothers to fight with me now. So, but hey, man,
I'm here for all the smoke. I'm ready for it. So yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. I'm sorry we went over a little bit. I always want to make sure I'm respectful of everybody's time. I know you guys are busy. So hey, go kill the rest of the week, man. All right. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Bye.
All right.